I wanted to do a video on duck. A lot of people have asked me about treats and bones and different food related items, and I wanted to briefly share one of the tips and tricks that I do that has worked for me. I buy these whole ducks at Winco Foods. You can also buy them at Costco Business Center. I don't think they have them at the regular Costco, but we have a Costco Business Center not too far away, so I go and buy the whole case, which I think has 6 in it. It ends up being around $3 a pound, so it's not terrible, but I use the whole entire thing. So I kind of will walk through how I kind of break it down and process it, and then explain why I do it that way. But the first thing I do is put on an apron because it is a messy process. So cover as much as you can. And then as we go through breaking down the duck, I will tell you what I use it for and how I use it. But right now I'm gonna open all the packages, get them set out, that way it's an easy process from here. Okay, so I have 6 whole ducks here, but I have a lot of dogs and they love duck. My old girl, Sadie, she's my dachshund mix. She's around 12. Over time, she developed a food sensitivity to chicken. And it's a very, very common thing for dogs to develop food sensitivities. Beef, chicken, dairy being the top 3. So I like to change up the proteins as much as possible so that, hopefully it doesn't happen with my other dogs. So anyways, duck is one of their favorite proteins, so I incorporate a lot of duck. If you're only doing one, it's the same process. So we're going to start by taking out this particular duck, the company Culver duck. Again, I get it from Winco, but I believe the Costco whole duck is the same. And it has an orange flavoring packet on the inside. And you definitely don't want to give that to your dogs. So I start by taking that out. Along with, there is this one's still frozen, so I'm gonna use this one. See if this one's a little less. And sometimes if you get a paper towel, it kind of helps to grab on and get some traction. So I just toss this. The neck that's in the inside is a great bone source. So I have a couple bowls set out here, and as I break things down, I use the different bowls for the different parts. So I always start by cutting off the excess skin and fat and such. It just makes it a little bit easier as I work through all of it. Then I don't have to do quite as much of it later on. So all of this skin has a lot of fat. It's a super duck has a very, very high fat content, and the skin contains most of it. So I just cut it off. They don't need that much fat. They're getting plenty of fat from all the other stuff. So I cut off that, and then come on the other side. Yeah, just kind of get the majority of it off of each end. Then I will go to the wings. If you've ever processed a whole chicken before, it's a very similar process. One of the things that I invested in was a meat cleaver because it makes getting through this real easy. So I'll start with the wings. I mean, I have a good pair of kitchen scissors to get through the skin because the skin is a little harder to get through with the cleaver. And then I'll go ahead and use my scissors to break away the thigh. And leg. And again, I just take my cleaver and kind of go straight down the middle of the breast. Oops. Yep, that happens. And then go back with my scissors. Break it up. Okay, so now, you know, it's open. And then I take my cleaver, just a little bit of that. And I'm gonna go down the spine on each side. Flip it back over. And then I can just kind of finish it with my my scissors to get through the rest of the skin. Like I said, the cleaver doesn't get through the skin very well. The bones, yes, it's great for that. Okay, so here's the backbone piece. I'll put that in there. I break everything down first. Get it all into kind of sections. So I'll go through and do this with all of them, and then I'll come back and finish processing the sections, but I'm just gonna keep going with this one. So I like to break my bone pieces down. I'm gonna use a lot of the majority of the pieces for bones, and my small dogs need smaller pieces, so I end up breaking most of them down into smaller pieces just because then I can easily grab from the bag and I don't have to worry about, oh, that's a bigger piece, you can't have that, and so on. So again, I'm going to cut off a good majority of the skin off of the thighs. And then I take my little knife. I'm gonna take off a big chunk of the thigh meat because they don't need this much meat on a bone. The bone is meant for bone. You want, you know, a little bit of meat on there is fine. So that's about what I'm leaving, the thigh piece. And then the thigh meat that I pull off will go into another bowl. My bone pieces over there. And I'll use that for something later. Mostly treats for the dogs. They love, I'll use the breast meat and the thigh meat, and I'll turn it into jerky, or I'll boil it for shredded meat. As far as the thigh goes, you can absolutely give this whole piece to the dog. But I, once down the middle, break it into two pieces, like I said, because I have smaller dogs that, you know, it's easier for me to just grab from the bag and toss to them. But a full-size standard poodle, not a poodle puppy, but a full-size standard poodle can eat that, you know, bone, no problem. They tear through it in a matter of seconds. So again, this is the breast piece, but see how much skin and fat that is? They don't need it. So now with the breast piece, I always cut off the majority, like I said, the biggest chunk of meat, and use that for treats. And then I'll show you what I'm left with. Okay, so here's my breast piece. And then this is what I'm left with. So this is the bone. And I cut that into a couple of pieces. And this will be good bone content for the dog's food, the meals throughout the days. And I put all the bone pieces into Ziploc bags, I'll show you later, and freeze them. That way it's super easy. I go in there, everything is already processed, cut up, and I just grab from the bag for the day's meals. I'm usually, you know, busy in the mornings, so I don't want to have to, you know, stand there processing duck every single day. So doing this on the weekends, I find is the best option for me. So again, I'm going to take off the majority of the meat. There's a little bone piece. It's about what's left. Put the meat in my meat bowl and in half. You know what I forgot to do? I usually will put a kitchen towel under the cutting board. It cuts down on the sound and the vibration a lot. I forgot. So I'm just gonna keep going. walk you through it, and then I'll go back and fix it. So, breast, skin, fat, throw that away. Take off the biggest portion of the meat, put it in my meat bowl, and got my pieces there, the bone, go in my bone bucket. So this was the back piece that we had taken off. So I turn it over, lay it, and then I go back with my scissors because sometimes it doesn't get, you know, through all that skin. But the majority of the work is already done, so it makes it real easy. So the back piece, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, smaller pieces out of, go in my bowl. And then the wings, so again, a full-sized, grown adult Standard Poodle can get through this if you just throw it in their bowl, perfectly fine. I just choose to break it down because sometimes I give a little less bone, give a little more bone, and again, I don't like processing it every morning, so I just I break it down into fairly small pieces so that it's easy to grab. Here was that neck. This, yeah, definitely don't have to break that down, but I do. So I think I got all the pieces. They're all broken up. So I'll show you my bowl here. I'm gonna have to go back and sanitize my phone. So here's all my bone pieces. I will stick this into a Ziploc bag. Here's my meat pieces. Got my breast and my thigh meat. For the breast meat, I will, I'll just show you. I take it and I cut strips. So, you know, makes little strips out of it. I get a cookie sheet and put some wax paper, parchment paper, sorry. And I will cook it on like about 200 in my oven, 225 depending on if your oven runs hot or cold. And approximately 2 to 3 hours, just real low, and it, you know, kind of makes it into a yummy jerky that they love. It's one of their favorite treats. So this will be treats. And then by the time I'm done with 6 duck, this bowl will be piled high of breasts and thighs and such. So the thigh meat, what I like to do with it is boil it, and it becomes real shreddable, and then they love that as a separate treat. So it, you know, has 2 different tastes, 2 different textures, and I can use them in 2 different ways. The boiled meat is a little more moist because, you know, it's boiled, and so I like to use it when I'm at the house and can wash my hands, you know, so if I'm doing training here or training a new behavior, then I'll use it here at the house. The jerky I like to use when I'm out and about. To me, the jerky has a higher value than the shredded meat for whatever reason. I don't know why. They just really go a little more nutty over the jerky. And it doesn't leave your fingers sticky or wet from the moisture because the moisture's gone. So I will individually bag up the jerky. I'll freeze it so that way I can pull it out whenever I'm ready to go. It goes with me for the day, and I can hand it out, you know, as we're out doing, you know, different activities or things that I feel like I want to treat them for. So that's it. That's the duck. I like to change up the proteins very regularly. So sometimes I'll go ahead and process the duck breasts as part of their meals. I'll grind it and add it as some of the protein in their meals. But most of the time, this is what I like to do with the duck